How's it going, folks? Sam Luce here with Safari Pedals, bringing you a brand new plugin. This is the Hawk Phaser. Hawk Phaser is a unique plugin encapsulating soaring, sweeping, fluid phasing effects. It's not just a phaser, it's a tool that's going to keep you creative and help you go wild. In essence, this is a plugin that uses an LFO or low frequency oscillator to modulate your track and give you complete control over the phaser effect. Your first stop is the input and output controls. Use these to control how much signal comes in and out of the plugin. The rate control governs the speed of the LFO modulation in the phaser, so set this to the speed you want that effect to oscillate at. Up high, you'll get pulsating phaser effects. Down low, you'll get a lot more gentle, soaring sweeps. The depth knob is where you can determine the magnitude of the LFO modulations. This is how deep the LFO modulations will go. Up high, you'll hear deep, immersive swirls, but down low, you'll hear something far more gentle and subtle that helps add a shine to any track. The feedback control allows you to feed the processed audio back into the phaser. This allows you to create echo-like effects that intensify the effect and add resonant character to your tracks. The filter lets you focus the processed sound. You can use it to emphasize or de-emphasize a specific frequency range to shape the tonal color of the phasing effect. Width and blend will be familiar to anyone who has previously used Safari Pedals plugins. These allow you to blend between the dry and processed signals. The width allows you to dial in how wide you want this phaser effect to go. So let's dig in, try it out on a few tracks and see how it sounds. First off, I've got it on a guitar. Now this is kind of a lo-fi guitar kind of thing, and it's being made a little bit more lo-fi by Hawk Phaser. Let's check it out. So I'm going to start off with the plugin not engaged, it's going to be bypassed, and then I'm going to bring it in and you'll hear just the movement that it's adding. This is not on too extreme settings. I've got the rate down at 0.27 Hertz, so a relatively slow kind of swirling sound. Depth is not up too high, it's not too deep an effect. Let's take a listen. It just helps to add a little bit of movement to it, and this is one of the more subtle effects. As we move on, we're going to hear some more extreme settings, but to me this just helps add a little bit of interest to the track, and it makes it so it's not quite as sterile as it would be without it. It's a clean track, but it needs a bit of life to it, and that's what Hawk Phaser is doing. So in with a beat on this track as well. And the beat has got, again, Hawk Phaser on it. It's on a preset that's 16th note hat groove. So this is going to accentuate the high end just a little bit and just give it a little bit of movement. And we can control this filter and bring it up a touch and just hear how that's actually controlling the high end on these hats. You can kind of focus in on different frequency ranges using this filter control. I'll show you in a moment how you can really get some sub lows out of it, but you can also just get some real sparkly highs as well. So the plugin on the left is the beat and the plugin on the right is the guitar. Let's take a listen to them together and just change things around. A load of different tonal possibilities there. We can really get quite intrusive with these plugins. We can really dig in deep and we can get stuff to resonate. We can get stuff to really poke out, or we can be far more gentle. There really is such a broad span of sounds within this. I want to show you on a backing vocal stack here, and this is just from some Apple loops built into Logic. And I've got them on a track stack, and I've got Hawk Phaser on that track stack. And just take a listen to what it's doing. This is on the Bright Vocals preset, and it just adds this shine, this shimmer to everything. And you can make it slightly less intrusive if you want. I'm just going to bring down the depth control with it in, and that kind of swirling is going to go away, but you're still going to be left with this beautiful top end shine. So as I bring that depth down, it gets not quite as steep, and it means that the fluctuations, that LFO, as it is oscillating, it's not going quite as far, and it's just being a little bit gentler, and you can get some subtle effects, and you can go even more subtle than that, but I kind of like a little bit of movement there. The reason I'm getting all this top end shine is because of this filter. It's up high, and this is really accentuating, it's really emphasizing the high end. And we can do this to a vocal and accentuate that high end. We can do it to an acoustic guitar, to a synth, to some hi-hats as we had before, or we can go completely the other way and emphasize a load of low end as well. So let's check that out now. So let's hear this without the effect in, and then let's engage it and just hear what we're doing. Remember, this is an instance where we're looking at the low end. So I've got this filter down pretty low, and we're going to bring this feedback up as we go, and just hear how it changes stuff on this Kick Heaven preset, slightly altered, and then we can make it go even more so. So this rate control is doing something interesting, because depending on the tempo of your track, it's going to kind of hit different beats within that tempo. The range is set to hertz, so it's kind of divisions of a second. If you have it up at 1 hertz, then it's going to be 1 second essentially. But by doing this, we can make it so that we're really adding some movement in there, and we're adding a little bit of anticipation, we're adding a little bit of randomness, and we're making it so it's not quite as clinical as just saying, right, every single kick is going to have a load of low end added to it. If we set the rate so that it's not really a multiple of the tempo, then it's just going to make it a little more random. We're going to add a little bit more excitement and just make it a little more musical, a little bit more human. Hear how those kicks are changing every time. So that's the Hawk Phaser. It's a great way of adding some movement to a track. It's a great way of adding some swirl, adding some kind of soaring effect to the sound, and it's going to work on a load of different instruments. You've heard it there on a guitar, you've heard it there on a beat, you've heard it there on a vocal stack, but you can try it for yourself. You can jump over to safaripedals.com, you can get a free trial, or you can buy it now and get it as part of the big everything bundle. I hope that's useful for you. I'll see you again soon. Take care.